Hello, and welcome back to RCTV. It is August. That means a lot of stuff has happened, festival season, but we're heading into a slower time. And indeed, I'm going to be taking a summer break at Rhythm Changes over the next couple weeks, which basically is the rest of the month of August. But this one was a timely one, it ended up being, because our guest, she has played so many times in her stint back home from her first year of jazz school, and I haven't really gotten to catch any of them, so I really wanted to hear about them. And fortunately for you, there are still more coming up, so you still have time to see her at 2 shows before she goes back to McGill. I was stoked that this worked out and I got to chat with her today. Please enjoy my conversation with young drummer extraordinaire Sadie Koshan. Our guest today is a drummer and university music student who is back in town, has been playing a lot of gigs during that time, which I always love to see, with friends who are doing the same thing, as well as our finest locals. There are 2 gigs coming up where you can still hear her in this season. First one is on August 13th at Aperture, and that's in a trio with Aaron Kim and Anthony Yuen. And then the second one for Infidels Jazz at Hot Deli for the Pass the Hat series. She is leading a quartet, so please welcome Sadie Koshan.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I had a fun gig last night at Apollo's. I'm a little bit tired. It was a long one, but it's always fun. Yeah.
So Apollo's, you were playing as part of the Ingrid Lee trio, and this is somebody who you've played with now for a while and who you spend time around a fair bit, I think, both here and over in Montreal. Is that right?
Yes, I've only done one gig with her before, and I really love playing with her, and I really love her style so much. The bass player, I hadn't played with ever before, so it was really fun. But I felt like we had very similar musical ideas, so it didn't take that much time for us to lock in, I feel like.
So are you both McGill students, you and Ingrid?
Yes, Ingrid is going into her 3rd year at McGill.
Are you going into your second?
I'm going to my second, yes.
That's right. So this bunch of gigs is you coming back home from first year at McGill.
Yes. Yes. It's
So
really
yeah,
sorry.
how does that feel?
It feels so lovely because in McGill or in Montreal, I feel like I haven't made enough connections. I was only able to do like 3 gigs during the full year, and I really appreciate having gigs, and I find them so much fun and such an important like part of being a musician, because you learn so much and in the preparation, in the rehearsals, and this summer I've like led some, and I don't think I've ever led once before. Actually, no, I've led the Cat's Cradle since December, but it's really like a great opportunity, definitely, to like choose the tunes and just like have everything organized. It feels really special, and I can't wait until like I can be like that in Montreal if I can. But Vancouver means like the Vancouver jazz scene just feels so like home to me, and I know I'm so grateful to know so many people and be able to like get gigs here and play with so many people that, like, for example, like Gordy Li. I remember 2 years ago I caught him at the Shad Bowl, and he was playing an Infidels show there, and I remember I wanted to talk to him after his show because I was like so in awe of the playing, and I was so nervous to like talk to him. But now I was able to like play 2 gigs with him this summer, and I feel like we see eye to eye, and it's just so awesome.
Huh. Okay. So I want to ask you about a few different things that you mentioned there, which we'll get to, but I want to stick on Gordy for a second. So you saw him at the Shad Bolt. So was this at the Jazz at the Bolt Festival? And was this the year that he played earlier in the day and he led his band in room 103 there? So you were there. This was the first time you saw him.
I really Oh, I really miss Jazz at the Shad Bowl because I'm not in Vancouver during that time, but I got to go for 2 years, and it was, I don't know, it was such an amazing experience. Yeah, and I saw him there. I think there was Carl on the drums. He was probably my favorite local drummer. Yeah, they just sounded so good together, and yeah, it was really awesome.
Yeah, as the production coordinator for Jazz at the Bolt, I'm very happy to hear that, and we'll miss
Oh,
your
you
attendance there.
are? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool memory that you shout out. Now, of course, you brought that up because of this gig that you recently played where he was leader, also at Apollo's, like the gig you played last night, where you
Yeah.
played with Gordy and then with somebody else who here in Vancouver, when you've both been in town, you've spent some time playing with Allison Lee on bass.
Yes, Allison. Yes.
So how was that?
It was really fun. Gigs with him are very different from with other people. It's very like prepare ideas, like musical ideas, and when you rehearse together, it's more like everyone on different like from different gigs like come together and just jam, and we rehearse like ideas rather than actual tunes. And so it's when it's like the day of, he'll like say the tune name right before we start playing, or like we'll just start playing, and it really keeps me on my feet. And I don't know, but I never feel stressed out in gigs or like jamming with Gordy, even though I'm almost always like I'm very self-conscious of my playing most of the time, and especially playing with like new people or older, more advanced people. But I've never felt like pressure with Gordy. He's always like, it's almost like the more mistakes I make, the more he appreciates it, because I'm like trying out new things, and I feel like I can just like, he wants me to throw a bunch of things at him, and it, it's a challenge to like keep being creative and keep thinking of new things.
Yeah. Now, earlier you mentioned the Cat's Cradle Quartet. This is the name of a group that you lead. And
Yeah,
just like Allison was playing with you and Gordy on that gig, I have had this group on the gig list, I think mostly at Aperture,
yeah,
playing together. And you've played with Allison there too. And some of the other people, I don't know if it's always a fixed lineup or not, is Maxwell Holmes on piano, who I believe studies in New York now. And
yes.
then a guy who obviously you're all a lot younger than me, but who's from my old high school, New Westminster, Luca McInnes-Can on saxophone, who
Oh,
I love to see.
yes.
So is this the lineup for your band when you lead it, or have you had different people in it as well? Cat's Cradle Quartet.
Well, the group with Allison, Maxwell Holmes, and Luca, that was more like, because both Allison and Max are studying in New York, and I just wanted to get an opportunity to play with them. So it was more of like a once gig thing. But like I feel like now my main band is the Cat's Cradle, because we all go to McGill together. I actually had one gig in Montreal with them, and we in Vancouver we've done 2 at Aperture and then 1 at the Fort Langley Jazz Festival. But they're also like my closest friends and my favorite people ever in the world. Um, they they're so sweet, and they're so awesome. And I feel so like safe playing in front of them and playing with them, and but also it's not like, I feel like it's not like safe in the sense where it's like, oh, I can just play the same all the time, because they're very like, they're always working, always practicing, always trying out new things, and they're always getting me to try out new things. Especially like Clee, I'll ask him after every song, like, oh, what could I do different to sound better on here? And he would be like, oh, you should try out this and this, and like and they all sound so great, and I feel so fortunate that I get to play with them. They're like, in my eyes, they're like the best young players ever, and it's kind of crazy that I'm like friends with them and I get to play with them.
So this is Klee Zubat on guitar, son of Josh Zubat. This is Aaron Kim on bass.
Yes.
And who's the fourth?
And Jaden Christie on violin.
Nice. So was this year at Fort Langley? This was the band that you played with?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so that time when you had Max and Allison, and then you had Luca joining you as well, like you said, that was more of a special lineup.
That was a special lineup just for Aperture, yeah.
Yeah. So you did something that not many people do very often, and I'm curious how it felt for you when you were going through it. But you went to Fort Langley and you played not one but two shows back to back on the same stage, and then you went the same night to play with Gordy at Apollo's.
Yes, and then I had a Frankie's After Dark show after that. So
on the same day?
Yes, it ended up being 4 shows in one day.
Okay, so that night at Frankie's, so that was that Neil Wang?
Yes, it was.
Wow. Okay, so how was that day for you? How'd you feel after that?
I was really relieved. I was really nervous for it because I spent the week at the VSO School of Music camp TAing, and that was really awesome, but I had like rehearsals after every single day, so I was like, I know I'm gonna be very tired, but I have to preserve my energy for this day. And well, thankfully there was like a big break between the Langley one and the Apollo's one, but my muscles were very sore that day, so I had to take like a few Advils and stuff. But yeah, like because of the Langley traffic, we didn't even have that much time. Like basically I went home and just got my like stuff and just went back straight to Apollo's. I was especially nervous for Apollo's because whenever it's with Gordy, it's super ripping, like really burning tunes, and also with Allison, she's always burning, always ripping, and I want to be able to like provide what I can to that energy. The one with Neil Wang was like very traditional jazz, and he said that like you'll be like for what I for the gig it would be like better if I play like a simple, just really simple. So I was like, that'll like, I'm nervous. This is my first time playing at Frankie's, but it's really chill, like what I have to play. But the first 2 gigs at Fort Langley were the first one was with Cat's Cradle, my band, and that was really fun. I spent as much energy as I could, and I realized I didn't save as much energy as I should have for Ben Kai's group banter after that. But I feel like we all preserved. It was Aaron Kim and Klee Zubat were in both the Fort Langley ones too, so it was basically the same rhythm section, just swap out the horn player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun. It was really hot outside, so it was a bit exhausting, but I love the staff at Fort Langley, and they gave such like a positive environment. They were so encouraging, so I felt like pretty encouraged to keep going. And yeah.
You also played in a band at Fort Langley last year, not in the July Festival weekend, but in their recurring series leading up to the festival, right?
Yes, I played in 2. I played in one with Ruha. Wait.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was with Bella Federico, I think, on bass, and then Rick. I don't remember his last name. On
Ricardo Alves. Yeah. I have it in front of me too.
Yeah, that was really fun, and I was like, I remember being so stoked. I was like, you want me on this gig? This is crazy. These are like crazy people, but it was really fun. I don't know if we got a rehearsal or just like one, but I remember being nervous because like I hadn't really played with any of them before. And then the other one was, who was it with? I'm like drawing a blank here.
So I don't have this one in front of me, so I don't know. We could leave it.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, it was with Trading Force. I used to have like this band, or like I was in this band. I think Allison was leading it. It was actually with Allison and Maxwell Holmes and William Zhu on trumpet, and we only played like twice. We played once at Aperture and then once at Fort Langley.
Right. Okay. So that was the other ones, both of the 2024 Youth Concert Series, Fort Langley. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool too, because one of those you played with Rue, and now Rue is playing with you on your gig at the Hot Deli, the Infidels show.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. I remember like when I asked them, I was like, I know you're probably really busy, but like it would be so cool to have you on this gig. And then they were like so appreciative and like they were like, I'm so excited that I get to play with you, and like I can't believe you want me. But it's like, what? You're like one of the most hip players in town, and like I don't know, they're so humble, and I'm so stoked. They play exactly how I would want like a horn player to play with. I don't know how to describe it, but like
Yeah. I dig it. Yeah, great jazz fest show, the Rue and Harmeet Quintet as well. I didn't get to go to that one.
I got to catch that.
You were there.
That was so phenomenal. It was so phenomenal.
Yeah, also Infidels, and this one was at Zameen Art House, yeah, early in the first festival weekend, yeah. I could talk about Jazz Fest with you too. Before we get there, just on your Hot Deli show as well. So the other two musicians in the quartet, Sage Adams on guitar, Aaron Kim, who we've already mentioned, McGill, friend of yours, on bass.
Yes.
And I actually first heard you. We mentioned Harmeet too, which is also funny, at the Surrey Jazz Nights Youth Showcase in April 2024. But I didn't interview you, even though I interviewed both of those two people, Aaron and Sadie, because they were leaders at this event, and you weren't. You were just playing with them. So I got to hear you, but I didn't go out of my way to actually do a video with you back then. But that was the first time I heard you.
Yeah. I think it was Sage's. Was it Sage's or Aaron's?
I think Sage was the leader on that time.
Yeah. And then Aaron was in two bands, and she was leading another one. And that one was Anthony was part of that too, I think.
Yeah. So that goes back to like, that's a while ago now, especially in you, like obviously
ago.
for you it's pre-first year.
I forgot about that. That was so long ago, but that was really fun. It's really fun like going out to like driving out to places and like just like getting to explore in kind of like a new town like Langley or Surrey, and getting to play there, and there's like a different crowd of people too because it's like a different place. But yeah, that was really fun.
So driving out there, how far is that? What part of the Lower Mainland did you grow up in then?
I live in Kitts. I've grown up in Kitts, so
that is a drive.
Yeah, it's quite a drive. I'll like practice warm up on my legs if I didn't get it, like if I didn't warm up enough, or I'll like listen to the tunes, and so I'll like try to make use of the drive, and then on the drive back I'll just like plonk out, fall asleep.
Yeah, we've talked about a bunch of places where all these people that we've mentioned as your kind of local peers and players here, some of whom have followed in the same path to McGill with you. But in terms of before McGill, when you were all here, we've mentioned some areas where you could spend time getting to know each other and getting opportunities to play. Now, one of them in terms of venues is Aperture, where you've played a lot. And then there's some of these other things like this Surrey Youth Showcase that happened, Fort Langley Youth Series that happened. VSO School, you mentioned briefly earlier, seems to be a big one, especially over the last decade or so, as something that didn't exist yet when I was coming up, but is tremendously important now. Is there anything else you want to speak to or add about where people like yourselves, before you went to McGill and before that, when you were coming up, where you got opportunities to spend time together and play. What are some of the places or the environments where you got to go out there and start meeting people?
100% the best place was the VSO School of Music. I think the first thing I participated in was with a combo, because I had a really amazing high school band teacher, and he was super supportive, and like he could tell that I really was into music. I hadn't been like playing for that long, but like as soon as I joined, I was like in grade 10, I think. I just had so much fun, and then by the end of that year, he was like, "You should definitely go to like join a combo at VSO School of Music." And like ask for Jody. Jody's like a superstar. She's amazing. So I did exactly that, and she's so nurturing, and I was so nervous because she's such like an incredible person, and like she's played with so many people, and she's done so many like amazing projects, but she's just so like mama bear. And she's so sweet. And then after that I did a couple of workshops. Like I participated in the Sisters in Jazz Day and in the summer workshop, and that's where I met all of my friends that I play with now. And that's how I figured out I wanted to go to McGill, because Ingrid Lee and like Emmett Murray were like discussing. Well, I was in a combo with Emmett, and they were talking about going off to McGill, and I was like, oh, that actually sounds really awesome. And Jody's really good about getting a lot of her students to go to McGill, and that's basically how I decided to go to McGill. And in Sisters in Jazz Day, I met Erin Kim, and I remember I was looking for like a bassist for so long, just to like play with, because as long as you have a bassist and a comper, you can like get any gigs, you can make any gigs. And then Sage brought up this idea of like jamming at the VSO School of Music, like booking a combo room and just jamming. And we started with like 4 people, like Aaron, Sage, myself, and I don't remember the 4th person. And then we just started branching out, and like we got new people, and then they knew friends, and they'd bring their friends. And like by the end of it, I remember one time there were like 4 drummers in the room, and like the entire room would be packed, and like every song would last for like 15 minutes because there were so many people, and like we'd all take like a solo or something. And I feel like that's definitely where a lot of us learned how to like play, because like play jazz combo, because like you can practice on your own, and that's like great for technique and also good for playing, but like where you really learn how to play is with jamming with other people. And we did that almost every Friday, and we'd like hang out and get dinner after, and it was like the highlight of, I think it was in grade 12. And that's where I met everyone. I met Sage in the combo that I was in for like the first thing at VSO. And yeah, and then I met Amrita, was friends with Erin Kim. And then now I play with her a lot, and I'm actually going to be living with her in Montreal. And then I met Klee and Jaden through Ben Kai. Ben Kai went to my high school, and he asked to be part of these jams. So then he came, and yeah, and then everyone just started bringing people, and it was so much fun. And Anthony, I think Ben Kai brought Anthony, and yeah, it was really fun time. Yeah.
That's such a wonderful example of the power of the VSO School. Thanks for sharing that. It's really cool for me to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a new way, and the biggest thing that I notice is different from when I was coming up was I always felt so lucky that at my high school there was such a surplus of amazing people that I could play with. And people in certain programs really have that experience a lot. I absolutely had that experience, and these are some of these people are still in my life to a huge degree, and so I felt really lucky for that. Now I feel like it doesn't matter as much because there's more infrastructure. Like, it doesn't matter as much which school you were at or who happened to be around you there, because I find that you guys meet each other earlier, and
Mhm.
if you cross over in terms of, there are places where you can spend time playing with all the people who are as passionate as you about music from whatever school they came from across the Lower Mainland. There's more opportunities for you to get together now than there was back then, which is really cool, because usually I thought we had to wait until university to have those kind of experiences, but now you don't.
Yeah, like there's kids as young as 12, I think, participating in VSO combos or workshops. Yeah, so you can like do it super young. And in my high school, there weren't that many like very jazz music keen students. And I remember I led a combo and it was very frustrating because well, Ben Cott was the only other one who was interested in music. You know, no one would show up, and I just wanted to play with people. And then I went to VSO, and I got to meet like-minded people.
Yeah, so super cool. Another educational like experience that you got to do, and this is going towards the Jazz Fest, is the new Improvisers Studio, the 2025 edition. This is my first chance to talk with somebody who did it this year. So can you talk about your experience doing that, and then having the recital performance at the Western Front? You did workshops on the way to that. How was that?
That was probably the most inspiring workshop I've ever participated in. I remember when I got there on the first day, I was so nervous because like Susie Barra's bio was like so impressive. The people she's worked with, the project she's done, and I was like, oh my god, like this is like an icon. This is she's
As a percussionist too.
yes, as a percussionist. And then I talked to her, and she like, when she met me, she like grabbed my hand and she was like speaking to me so softly, and she's just the sweetest person ever. And then I had an experience, like previous experience, in a combo in McGill second semester, in like a free jazz thing, but her concepts were like very different. It was kind of like orchestrated free, which like typically that like doesn't make sense, but this one, it was like, I forgot what the piece was called, but there were like 9 different figures, and she gestured to one person to play one of the figures like slowly or like quickly or loud or soft. And she'd conduct like who played what, or sometimes she'd just go like this, which means you just play like whatever you felt like would fit. But then we went out to Stanley Park to it's very complicated. Let me see if I remember. Like,
Yeah.
you find the frequency or like the pitch of the trees, and then you calculate it into like a rhythm. But at first I was like, I couldn't hear the frequency, and I was like, oh man, I was like so excited for this. But then I did, and I just got so inspired. And then I like came home that day, and I was like, I want to study ethnomusicology. And I was like, I want to travel the world and like do all these different projects in nature like Susie Barra, because for my like grade 12 capstone project, I did like a song using only percussion, and I like went out in nature and did that. And like nature is like nature and music are both like equally as meaningful to me. And just seeing that she could pursue like ethnomusicology, like go around. She was also like teaching and also like playing in crazy ensembles, and like having figures, especially female figures like that, like knowing that it's possible. And like Jody Prosnick also she does it all. Like she tours, she travels, she leads Emmy nominated groups, and she's a mother, and I don't know, it's so inspiring to have those figures. And yeah, I just came out from that workshop and I was like, my friends were laughing at me because I was like so hyper, and I was like, I want to do this ethnomusicology. I want to like go around the world and do this. And yeah, it was really fun.
Wow, what a great fit for you. Who was there with you? Like, you have existing friends? Do you make new friends there in terms of other students?
Yeah, I knew most of the people. I think, let me see. So Allison Lee was there. Annie, I don't remember her last name. She's studying at Semiamu. She's going to grade 12. She was the other bassist. There was a pianist. I don't remember her name.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to list everybody. I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, there's also Milan who gigs a lot around town, and he's going to CAP. There were a couple other CAP students. Oh yeah, and then Jaden Christie was in it, and then Clee was supposed to do it, but then he had conflict because he was in his dad's ensemble for part of the festival, which I got to catch. It was really amazing. I also came out of that and I was like, this is exactly how I want music to sound. I want to write music that sounds exactly like this. And I was like jumping up and down and I was so excited. And I got to like talk to his dad and I was like, what can I do? Like, I'm a drummer and I don't really know much about theory, but I want to write this kind of music. Yeah, I don't know. I love this year at the festival. After every single show, I got to catch so many amazing different drummers, and like after every show I was like, that's exactly how I want to sound like. That drummer right there is exactly how I want to sound like. But they are like all completely different styles of playing, but they all just sounded so great.
You were a sponge, yeah, at this year's festival. You were out and about. You were gushing a lot of stuff. You were at the Tyrant Jams.
Yeah, I call a lot this year. It was really great, and they were all such great shows.
I was gonna ask you about the Josh Subot Octet, yeah, for sure, because I was sitting there with Tim, and I was like thinking to myself, why are all these young students at this show? You know, like at 9:30 p.m. on the improv stage, there's like these McGill students and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, Cleese was playing this band. Yeah. They're all coming to hear Clee play with his dad, which is awesome. His dad and uncle, yeah.
Yeah. We came to watch his debut Vancouver Jazz Fest gig. I was expecting it to be amazing, but it's so good.
It was one of my favorite shows of the festival. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know Peggy Lee was gonna be there, and I remember I caught like a show of her last year or 2 years ago, and I was like obsessed with her for a little bit because she's so cool. But yeah, and Gordy was in that band.
Yeah.
That was such a great show. That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that. I think about the Tyrant Jams. Those are some of my standout memories of the festival too. It sounds like for yourself as well. Yeah, you got to take it all in.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about McGill. So you have your first year done. It's an interesting checkpoint. You know, it's a lot of new experiences. You talked about how you're coming back now for second year. You're going to be roomies with Amrita Saini, who's another person who I saw you play with. I think back at the Surrey Youth Showcase again too. Yes. But like you also played a recent gig with her as well. So trombone player. You got friends there. How are you feeling?
I'm actually really miss school right now. Surprisingly, like, I don't know, like Montreal, the scene is a little scary. I don't really know that many people, and like also just getting like any kind of a job is really hard because I don't speak French that well. And I'm also like pretty bad at theory, so the first semester was like really difficult. But Jim Doxis, my drum teacher was so, I loved Jim so much. He was so amazing, and like we really like saw eye to eye, and we really like had similar musical concepts, and he was so sweet. And like I'd come to like most lessons just like ranting about how much like how worried I was about my sound, or like, oh, I don't sound that good. And he'd always just talk to me about it, and I think that really helped me get through the year, as well as my friends. Like we always had conversations because we were all going through the same boat. We were all very like worried that we don't sound good enough or something like that. But yeah, I'm really excited, and I get to take arranging this year, and so maybe that will help me with like writing music finally, because I have so many like different ideas of what I want to write, but I'm like too intimidated by like actually writing it down. So I haven't actually written like an actual song before, but I have so many like ideas for it. But I can't wait until I can like actually get it down and get my friends to play it and stuff.
This is more as a fun snapshot. Again, no, it doesn't need to cover everything, just whatever comes to the top of your mind. But finishing first year could be McGill specific or not. But like we've talked about some people who you've actually got to spend time with face to face, and they've become like big influences and inspirations to you. But is there anything else like from the music, from the repertoire, from like recordings or stuff that you've been listening to, or that your teachers have exposed you to, or like anybody else's music that comes to mind as like, oh, this is something that I listen to maybe because of this person, but just some music I've been listening to that's inspired me a lot over the last year or last however long?
Yeah, the another first year drummer who I really wanted to sound similar to. I asked him like what drummer he checks out a lot, and Elvin Jones was his answer, and that's who I used to listen to a lot. And he put me on to this record, like Juju with Wayne Shorter, and now like I love that album so much, and I like usually do like a couple of those songs on like each gig that I'm leading. And oh god, there's so much. So it's
There
like
really is, yeah.
After Roy Haynes passed, there was like a master class. There are master classes every Friday, and one of them was about the music of Roy Haynes. And the master's student, who was a drummer, he was like giving the presentation, like at the end listed out all of the albums, and it was like crazy. It's like I want to listen to all of this, but that'll like take me like 20 years or something. The amount of albums he has is crazy. But yeah, I really got into listening to him, and also Jack DeJohnette. And I got more into listening to free music or free jazz, because before I've enjoyed watching it in person, but it's really hard to like get into when it's just a recording, because you don't really get like what they're doing as much, and sometimes it can just sound like a lot and not make sense. But the leader of the free jazz combo was really, she's crazy. She knows like so much different, like so many people. She listens like crazy. And yeah, I'm trying to think of more stuff. There's just so much. And I really got into listening to like Balkan jazz music, Balkan jazz fusion. There was this cover of like Duke Ellington's Far East Suite by like I think it was called like Slavic Soul Party, and it was so cool. And what else?
That's a good pull.
Yeah. There's so much. I just can't like think of it
Yeah.
off the top of my head right now.
Well, it's fun that you mentioned Juju, because like definitely the one Wayne Shorter tune that like I've always played is Deluge from that album. So yeah, definitely
I,
like my favorite Wayne Shorter tune.
yeah, that's probably my favorite Wayne Shorter album.
Yeah, totally. So does this tie in at all to, if I was gonna say, well, what's some of the things you're gonna play at the Hot Deli? You know, like are you gonna play this kind of repertoire stuff that's been inspiring you lately, or what's a little bit of what you're gonna play there?
Um, it's a secret. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
Yeah, definitely some of that. Let me check real quick. I'm just gonna pull up this playlist.
Yeah, because I'm sure you got different repertoire pieces, you know, that maybe you've been playing for a while, or like other new stuff you wanted to try. Another time for you to be
Yeah,
a leader and pick.
yeah, definitely. I love getting to lead because like I hear so many songs and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool to play that. And sometimes I'm a bit like unrealistic because like I'll hear a song and it's like it's so crazy. Like I really like Cannonball Adderley's Fiddler on the Roof record, but all of his tunes are arranged really weirdly, and I think some of it's like they're really tight as a band, but if you like listen to some of the heads, they like drop out a beat or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, and like I don't think it's been transcribed or anything, so I'm trying to figure that out. I did a couple of those on July 27th at Aperture with Max and Luca and Allison. But for this one, I wanted to pick a good amount of like guitar ones for Sage, because originally it was just going to be a trio. Oh yeah, we're playing one tune, my favorite tune of the Austere projects from Delta Sky. That
Oh,
one's
okay, yeah.
a tune. Let me see what else. And I chose most of the songs except for two. Isfahan, I've been really into. I think I've like played that at every single gig lately because it's definitely my favorite ballad. It's so pretty.
You weren't at the Bill Frisell headliner, were you, at the Jazz Fest
The like I
this year?
did. I caught that, and he played that.
Yeah.
That was yeah, that was amazing. That was that. Yeah, I was like, I'm so sentimental after listening to that, and they played the whole time, like everything was connected, and they just all played as one, and they were all having so much fun up on the stage and playing such profound music. It was so incredible. And then they played Isfahan, and I was like, see, this is such a great tune. They're playing it right now.
That's awesome about the power of standards and tunes from the repertoire, right? Because like I was there with Chris Fraser, who hosts the Rhythm Changes podcast. We were there with our spouses and each other, and he was sitting next to me. And Chris and I played that tune on a bunch of gigs together too. And then when
Yeah,
he hit that tune, I was like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
They actually played a lot of the tunes that they played. I've played before at gigs. It was really crazy, but like their style of playing is very different, so you like really have to pay attention to the melody.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good summary. The rest can be for the people who come for sure for the Hot Deli show. Yeah, that's good. Is there anything else that we haven't gotten to yet that you wanted to bring up, or anything or anyone that you want to shout out before we wrap here?
Um, I guess I haven't talked that much about the Muppet show coming up at Aperture. But I mean, there's not too much more to speak about, but um, yeah, that one I'm really looking forward to. I love Anthony's probably my favorite pianist to play with, and Aaron's probably my favorite bassist to play with. And we always choose like super arranged tunes or like really tricky tunes. We've played two other gigs at Aperture together, And I remember like we all improved so much like while rehearsing that, because we like bite off a lot more than we can chew. The first one it was off of, most of the tunes were off of Oscar Peterson's We Get Request album. And let me look at the tunes list for this.
I have that album on vinyl. That was one of the first jazz albums I got on vinyl.
It's such a great album. That's so awesome. I don't know if I don't have the tunes list handy, but we're playing some pretty crazy tunes. I'm a little nervous for it, but I'm really excited, and they're gonna sound so great.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's 2 more times for people to hear you throughout the rest of the month of August here, which we're now in. I had a lot of fun learning more about what you're up to, because I've caught you around a little bit but haven't had many chances to actually enjoy your full gigs. It's cool to learn about everything you're up to. I want to wish you an awesome second year at McGill when you go back, and thanks again for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to RCTV. It has been great doing these first couple episodes, and now I'm going to take a little bit of a pause for the rest of the month of August at Rhythm Changes. That's right, it's summer break time, and the next new one of these, really the next new anything that comes out after next week or so, is going to be in September. So I got to figure out who I want to talk to next and which conversations I'm going to bring to you. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you'll get new ones. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.